Nacho Sundays, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Live on YouTube on the EBL exclusive Battle League Network. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sundays.
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme,
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
Hosted by FiboNacci Brown. Don't forget to go to FiboNacciBrown.com to get your copy of Growing Down.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
Brought to you by the exclusive Battle League Network. EBL.
What up, though, family? How you doing on this glorious Sunday? As I understand, there's a huge Nacho Sundays logo over my face right now, so I am working to try and get that switched over. So give me one moment while I work on that, and I am going to give you something to listen to while I fix it.
Refuge in my mental. This wish a nigga was central. Make sure it's holy in your temple. You a vegetable when I'm in the room, and I'm vegetarian when I eat my food. Palms together when I pray on you, cause the chef about to use her favorite tool. Chop, cut, slice, dice. Shit, I ain't even got a knife. Seem like when I spell it in a rhyme, I cut a motherfucker up and serve him over rice.
Nacho Sundays, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Live on YouTube on the EBL exclusive Battle League Network. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sundays.
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme,
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by FiboNacci Brown.
Cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
FiboNacci Brown. Don't forget to go to FiboNacciBrown.com to get your copy of Growing Down.
Nacho Sunday. Nacho Sunday.
Brought to you by the exclusive Battle League Network. EBL.
There you go, family. We had a few little things we had to work out this evening, but that wasn't going to stop us. So welcome to Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. I am your host, FiboNacci, Big Nacho Brown, and we have got quite the show packed for you today. So before we get to devour our nacho, layer by layer, we are going to get our announcements out of the way, and then we are going to dig into our nacho. First off, let me first say there was a battle on March 9th. It was the goods card with the EBL exclusive Battle League Network, and they were able to present their 3 battles that went off without a hitch. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to all of the battlers that evening. Also, we are having an EBL collaboration with Bar You to Death for Bar You to Death's Baz 45th birthday. Okay, so he is going to be bringing in his 45th birthday with quite the card. Let me tell you some of the battles that are going to be on this card. And let me also tell you, this is a live card. So this is not going to be something that's exclusively in the audio verse. You can actually pull up to this battle. So some of the people who will be presenting that night will be Greg the Great versus Revenue. Now, I want to first apologize to Revenue. I have been butchering his name for 2 weeks, and his name is not Renew. It's not Review. It's Revenue versus Greg the Great. I think that's going to be a good battle. Greg doesn't let down or disappoint. So I anticipate anybody they will put him up against is going to have to come with their A game. Also, Taz the Animal versus Jay Owens. DC Banga versus Miss Petty. Now, I'm a Miss Petty fan, so I haven't seen her ever come to a battle unprepared or not ready. So, and plus she's a lady, so I'm voting for the lady. So I'm looking forward to Miss Petty bringing what she brings to every battle. Also, we got Brills versus Young Ro. If any of you guys have ever seen Brills in a battle, you know that's a treat in itself. So he's going to be battling live. So you can actually pull up to this battle. Also, we got Jay Normus and a Stone. Jay Normus doesn't let down. He was in the last EBL event, Pay Homage. And I do believe that, or no, I'm sorry, not the Pay Homage, the one prior. But anywho, when Jay Normus is on the card, he is definitely bringing bars. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of these battles. Plus, there are at least 5 or 6 more. And from what I have been told, it is confirmed Miss Vicious will be battling I Am Bars. I Am Bars is flying in for this live event. So I know that is going to be one for the books. If you can pull up to this battle, I suggest you do. I can't wait to see how this battle goes down. So that is going to be on the April 7th Baz Bar You to Death birthday card. Say that 5 times fast. That is going to be on April 7th. And again, this is a live event. So I suggest that you guys make sure that you are tuned in to the exclusive Battle League Network, as well as Bar You to Death, to make sure that you are on all of the platforms to get all of the details leading up to this event. Now that we have gotten that out of the way, I want to dig into some of the other announcements. First of all, make sure you guys are heading over to FiboNacciBrown.com. That's FiboNacciBrown.com. There you will find that I am a published author. I have written a book called Growing Down, The Observation of the Masculinization of the Black American Woman. And you can still get that book at the introductory price. Make sure you peruse the website so that you can see some of the other media links that we have, as well as get your copy of Growing Down. And I'm seeing a lot of traffic coming through the website. So I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate those of you who stopped by the website to check out Fibonacci Brown and to order your copies of Growing Down. Much appreciated. Also, I do music. And as you may know, in my Nacho-tarians who tune in every Sunday, you guys already know, I am definitely coming out with an album this summer, this spring, Scription Volume 2 with my better half, 2-1 Illuminist. And we have got a single out right now on YouTube, heading to you on other media platforms very soon. The single is called Oplings. I will be showing that later on the show, so make sure you stick around to catch that. And also, make sure you're subscribed to all of the EBL links on Twitter, or formerly known Twitter, but X, as well as finding them in Discord. So now that we got those announcements out of the way, it's time to dig into our nacho. And as we start off digging into our nacho, we get into the nacho cheese. Nacho cheese is where we talk about our money, how our money can work for us, ways we can make our money work better, ways to just understand our money. And speaking of understanding money, this week's cheesy nacho is going to be about tipping. Listen. Tipping has gotten completely out of hand. This is Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho opinion is Nacho's opinion. And as far as I'm concerned, tipping has gotten completely out of hand. I am not understanding why, if I go in the drive-thru and I order something, for some reason, the person at the drive-thru is sticking a gadget in my face asking if I want to tip because I made an order in the drive-thru. That to me is a bit overboard. But before we get into my opinions on tipping, let's definitely get into a little bit of history. So tipping started allegedly in the medieval times around the 1600s in the form of gratuity. This was something that the aristocracy thought would be a way to show the less fortunate that they were appreciated. So people who were considered to have riches would tip people in service fields in order to show that they were showing gratitude for the service that they were providing. This was something almost exclusively done by people who had more or were considered rich, and exclusively given to people who were considered automatically less fortunate. Around the 1800s, tipping showed up in the United States, brought over by other European countries. So people from Europe who were coming over to the United States, they had begun to show this gratuity when in service engagements. And although it was something that was seen as taboo in the beginning because it was looked at as an insult in the United States, ultimately it caught on, and it became a global practice after this, or it became a global knowledge of the practice after this. However, it wasn't always accepted globally. So where tipping caught on rather well in the United States, other countries have seen tipping as insulting, and they look at it as something that you have to be kind of arrogant to do, or think you're better than to do. And some people get offended if you try to give them some extra money for a job they did. They feel they charge you for what the job is, and you give them what they requested to be paid, and to try to give them more suggests that they are poor or less fortunate, and they are insulted by that. So the United States, on the other hand, has definitely taken tipping to a whole nother level. We have gone from it being something that I almost always saw exclusively in maybe valet and restaurants growing up. You definitely tipped your service team at a restaurant, and if someone parked your car, you definitely tipped that person for handling your automobile. But it has gone from that to, I know, coming up through into the 90s or into the early 2000s with the onslaught of stripper culture. Tipping went completely out of hand, where in order to show that you were that person, you went into these strip clubs and you made it rain. Just literally raining money. And although might find that same person reluctant to do that in their own neighborhoods where they could actually help their next door neighbor, they would much rather spend all of that money on someone in a club who is taking all of their clothes off or most of their clothes off and filling this fantasy that they have. So tipping at that point was already looked at as an extreme when you can make it rain in the club. But seems a graduation from that is people are now expecting you to tip regardless of what type of service you receive. They are expecting you to tip just because you are patronizing their business. And if you don't tip, they use that as a means to gauge your financial situation and will definitely call you broke if you aren't tipping. So tipping, where it was once looked at as an insult, has gone to now it's insulting not to tip in the United States. And in my opinion, and again, this is Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Some of this has got to stop. I don't feel right with people feeling entitled to my money. Okay. Don't think that just because I bought a burger and fries from you that you are entitled to more of my money for that. So for some reason, I know for a fact, if you go to Star, that Star place that serves coffee, if you go there, you order something in the drive-thru, you are going to get to the beginning or the part where you get ready to pay, and they're going to stick a little gadget in your face where you can slide your card in to pay, or you can give them cash. But if you use the gadget, it's going to be an additional step in there where you are asked, do you want to tip? Because you placed this order in drive-thru. Now, they didn't bring it out to you. There isn't an additional coffee or beverage, no mints, no coupons. You just paid for your purchase of beverage, and you're being asked, do you also want to tip? Now, some people say, well, you have somebody's actually making your coffee. That is a service. So, yeah, if you want to tip that person for making your coffee, you should. And to that person, I would say, do you do that for all the things that you purchase? Because everything is a service. Do you pay extra money on your light bill for the service of lights, or do you give them exactly what they tell you owe? Or better yet, do you get on a payment plan because you don't want to give them everything that they're telling you owe them for the service of receiving lights? So when is it too much? I think that to expect someone to pay an additional money for something they purchased that you told them cost a certain price and they paid that price, for you to feel entitled to more money and to look at that person a certain way if they don't give you more money, it's a bit ridiculous. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. It's not your Sundays where it's not your opinion, it's not your opinion. And like I said, it's ridiculous. Don't feel entitled to my money. I remember there was this I don't want to say a phenomenon. I hate to give it that much credit, but there was a few videos circulating on social media where there was a group of women who had gone to a restaurant for one of the women's birthdays. They went with a gentleman. The gentleman was willing to cover the birthday girl's dinner, but the birthday girl, for some reason, thought this gentleman should cover everybody's dinner who came. And if he didn't, he was considered broke. And the entitlement of it, because immediately I thought, well, if he was willing to pay for her dinner and willing to leave a tip, that was more than enough of a birthday gift. But because she had this entitlement of, you should cover all of my friends, whoever wants to come and eat, you should be paying for it, Mr. Date number 2 or 3. So I was just trying to understand how, if this person is expecting someone that, that you can't even see past somebody paying for your food on your birthday, what would she expect a tip to be? What did she expect he was going to leave as additional monies just to say thank you to the service team that provided the food for this group? So it's, I think tipping to an extent has just completely gone bananas. It's out of hand. It's not, it has gotten away from gratitude. And if you notice, sometimes when you go to restaurants, if you have a group, many times there will be an automatic gratuity that they add to the bill. Well, that word gratuity comes from gratitude. And it's a way that you show your gratitude for the extra effort that may have gone into providing this service for you. Maybe it's not a huge deal to have to make a meal for 1 or 2 people, but when you have 10 and the team has to go into overdrive to make sure that all 10 of the guests are accommodated, as well as not losing momentum with accommodating the guests that are already there, you show your gratitude through maybe an additional bonus payment. But you have people now who are expecting it. They expect to have additional money just because they work there. It's like, oh, I'm gonna just go work at this restaurant because, I'll get tips. Not even thinking, you also have to balance the tip with good service. You have to be able to make sure that you are earning the tip you believe you're entitled to. You can't just bring your entitlement to a service interaction with a customer. So at the same time, I don't want to seem one-sided. There are also establishments who will automatically add a gratuity regardless of the service they provide you. I've seen establishments where they have added in gratuity for a pickup order. So you're not coming in, you're not taking your jackets off, you're not sitting down, you're not at the table, you're not seated reading a menu, you're not having conversation and creating an experience at this restaurant. You are literally coming in, grabbing your bag and going back to your vehicle. And when you look at your receipt, there is a gratuity charge. So I think that while I'm also saying that tipping is getting out of hand for the expectation of the service provider on the wait staff to expect it, it's also a bit much for these restaurants to just add it in when somebody's just coming to pick up their food. Frankly, if you have someone willing to come and pick their food up, you don't have to seat them, serve them, bring them water, waste napkins, unnecessary straws while they wait for food. You don't have to go through all of that. They're just willing to come in and pick up their food. You should probably give them a discount. That's what I think. Instead of trying to charge them 20% gratuity, you should give them a discount for coming to pick up their food and not putting your wait staff through the stress of incorporating you into the dining schedule. So, that's just me. Again, this is Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And I think that if somebody is coming to pick up their own food and you don't have to seat them, if you are an establishment that offers seating, give them a discount. They're giving your staff a break. So additionally, I think that people who just have a motto where they don't tip at all, if someone is giving you above and beyond service, they are accommodating you in ways that fall outside of a normal transaction. Let's say you go out to eat, you've ordered steak dinners, it comes with a salad. You order the ranch dressing. Okay, they bring you ranch dressing. You're halfway through the salad and you realize this dressing is just not cutting it for me. I need a whole new salad and I need dressing. And I tried to drink it, with this wine and it's not complimenting this wine at all. And they're like, no problem. We're going to get you a new salad. We're going to get you a new glass of wine. We're not going to charge you for the glass of wine or the salad, and your steaks will be ready any second. That might require a little above and beyond because they went above and beyond for you. They didn't have to credit you for wine you drank. They decided to incorporate that into how it was for you as an experience, and they accommodated that so they can keep the experience positive. That's above and beyond. It falls outside of the normal. Here's your food. I'll take you. All right, let me take your order. Here's your food. I'll take away the plates. Here's your bill. Blah blah blah. It falls outside of that. So when somebody's going above and beyond, I do think that requires some sort of thank you, some sort of gratitude, some sort of gratuity. So in those instances, for people who just hold a motto that they don't tip at all, I think that is also shameful. I think when people do a good job, you do give them extra. That's just how I feel, because it's not what you requested in the original agreement of what was to be transacted. So if they're going above and beyond, trying to make sure that you have a wonderful experience, yes, tip them. Don't stick to this I'm not tipping motto. But again, there is this struggle out here with tipping where they're going back and forth between being entitled to it and feeling and customers feel like they don't have to do it at all. Don't feel entitled to my money. Okay. If I want to share my money with you, that's on me. And I'm doing that by spending in your establishment in the first place. But to feel I should be tipping as well. Some of these establishments, especially these restaurants, they should be covering the cost of their staff, not passing that cost along to the customer so that the wait staff is looking at the customers if they're doing something wrong when these people work for you. So, that's got to be worked out. And again, this is Nacho Sundays where it's not your opinion. It's Nacho's opinion. And like I said, you tip where it's appropriate, but don't get ridiculous. Okay. Now, before we head into our mid-show, I'm going to slide over to my chat. And I see my cousin sister has checked in. She is calling me Cisco, and I'm calling her cousins. So hello, beautiful. Thank you for tuning in to Nacho Sundays this Sunday. My favorite T1XL is in the chat. Hey, 21. And I see exclusive Battle League is in the chat. If it ain't exclusive, it don't matter. So again, thank you guys for pulling up to Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho opinion. It's Nacho's opinion. We also have Super Smith in the chat. Super Smith is asking where I'm from. I start every Nacho Sundays with "What up, doe family?" because I am a Detroit girl through and through. And when in Detroit, we say "What up, doe?" I am also wearing my Michigangster sweatshirt today. So I am a Detroit Michigangster. That's where I'm from. So with that said, you guys, we are going to head into our mid-show. And I do want to show the Scription Volume 2 single Opplings video, because I am very proud of this video. 21 and I worked extremely hard to bring this to you, and I do hope you enjoy it. So please sit tight while I share my screen and share this video with you.
The tuning forks in reverse frequency to heal myself when necessary. Seems like there's more than just one. It is a network that I'm unraveling here. So I'm gonna need more time to unravel this network. If you understand what I'm saying. Over and out, mothership. See you soon, and trust we'll have your people ready to lead these motherfuckers to doom. You can always trust and trust. Over and out, mothership. We in this bitch.
Yeah, T1 Illuminous, FiboNacci Brown, yeah. It's fuck these oplings seeking refuge in my mental. This wish a nigga was central. Make sure it's holy in your temple. You a vegetable when I'm in the room, and I'm vegetarian when I eat my food. Palms together when I pray on you, cause the chef about to use her favorite tool. Chop, cut, slice, dice. Shit, I ain't even got a knife. Seem like when I spell it in a rhyme, I cut a motherfucker up and serve him over rice. You ain't the only one that lose your cashews like you fi. But since me goes nuts too, I call it stir fry. Talk that shit, I'm licking my lips. This kind of beef, my favorite shit. Scrimmage anonymous, like nigga, who you playing with? And that's a meal on you haters. Healthiest meal you ate in ages. The way I see through the bullshit numbers, I might be Neo in the Matrix. Yeah, and that's on Trinity. Shit, piss and spit on the enemy. Fake friend of me, shit be offending me. Limit to enemy, friend of me, remedy. Serving that knockoff Nike shit. Check a nigga like, yeah, just try it. I like when they think they tough. Smash on the top, I'll fuck them up.
You can say you seen what you seen, but that don't really mean that's what you really saw. Shape shifted, face different, hate different, waste time and space different. Bing bong, ding kong, big lies about the size of King Kong. With a rhetoric rhetorical like Solomon, you better put your ring on, cause the stove is really hot. 4 eyes, 4 pots, 2 pans. Dinner with dessert cooking in the kitchen. From scratch, no cans, and I'm walking with the band. Big hats, big boots, drum major. Big stick, long post, love nose, big shot, long ranger. Big hawk talking, giant walking, titan writing, call description. Super Saiyan saying something, slaying legion with description, 2nd edition. I'm a shot on a mission, Creek in position, Cherokee with the vision. Seminole limit, Florida to the boo, I don't stop, get it, get it. Sosa, no, Sammy Davis, Jr. dancing, tap, tap, fast feet, hand cannon, blam, blam, grandstanding, cub man, and dumb man, and nigga. Everything back, everything stole, everything go, everything cold, everything got, every motherfucking peanut butter in light bulb, motherfucker.
What up, though, family? You just watched Oplings from Scription Volume 2. That's going to be out this spring. Make sure you go head over there to the YouTube video and run my numbers up. I'd appreciate it. Thank you in advance. And we will be right back.
You are now listening to the Nacho Podcast, brought to you by the EBL Network. If it ain't exclusive, it don't matter. It's not your time to talk, it's time to listen. So pull up to the table with your plate and pay attention. It's not your time to talk, not your Sunday. It's something different. This is not your opinion, and you don't wanna miss it. It's not your time to talk. It's time for the show.
This wish a nigga was central. Make sure it's holy in your temple. You a vegetable when I'm in the room, and I'm vegetarian when I eat my food. Palms together when I pray on you, cause the chef about to use her favorite tool. Chop, cut, slice, dice. Shit, I ain't even got a knife. Seem like when I spell it in a rhyme, I cut a motherfucker up and serve him over rice.
A woman is the most potent expression of feminine energy in the harmonic equation of the human experience. Growing down, an observation of the masculinization of the Black American woman. Volume 1. Get your copy at FiboNacciBrown.com.
And we back. What's going on, family? We are getting ready to get into another layer of our nacho, and that layer is going to be the veggie nacho. And in the veggie nacho, we talk about health. And this week's health discussion in the veggie nacho is going to be around, are your clothes making you sick? So I know you're probably like, Nacho, what are you talking about? My clothes making me sick. How can my clothes be making me sick? Well, I'm glad you asked. First of all, let's talk about the frequency of clothing. And when I say frequency of clothing, I'm not talking about how often you wear it. I'm talking about the actual energy and vibration your clothing carries. Now, from what I've been able to look up, clothing is measured in mLs, as well as your body frequency is measured in mLs. And for simplicity's sake, the human body has a energy level of 70 to 100. So things that complement that body frequency will work well with your frequency, and in certain instances actually help to heal you if they are frequencies higher than that. So for instance, where the human body has a frequency of 70 to 100, linen, the fabric linen, has a frequency of 5,000. So compare that to what your normal body frequency is, and it's actually good for you to wear linen. Wearing linen is so good that in war times where they had to have makeshift hospitals, people who were brought in off of the battlefield were actually set up to heal in bedding that was made of linen. They also had linen tents over the tops of those beds, including on the pillowcases and the sheets. This indeed did help these people heal much faster, but for some reason they stopped using linen and went to cotton. Now, cotton is not a bad choice at all. It's actually a 100 frequency, so that is definitely a compliment to the human body. So if your human frequency is 70 or 80 and you're wearing cotton, and that cotton is not processed, it's not bleached, we're talking about just organic cotton, that can actually be beneficial for your body to wear cotton fabrics. Now, I did bring up processed cotton, bleached cotton, because that definitely carries a different frequency than organic cotton. Bleached cotton can carry a frequency of 40 or less. So that can actually be detrimental to your body. Now, ways that you can find fabrics detrimental to your body. I know a lot of women may experience this. If you wear a fabric on an undergarment that doesn't agree with your body frequency, you can actually have problems. It can cause discharges, odors, things that you're really not trying to deal with because you got the wrong fabric on and it's not agreeing with you. So you definitely want to be wearing fabrics that are healthy for your body to wear and resonate with. Speaking of which, I know a lot of people who tend to work out. They have heavy workout schedules. So they're at the gym, or they're constantly running, or they're going for a walk, or they're working out in their home gyms, and they tend to wear a lot of athletic gear. A lot of the athletic gear is tend to be made out of something called dry fit. This dry fit is supposed to be able to help with sweating, and a lot of people like that when it comes to them working out and perspiring quite a bit. The problem with that is that the reason it is preventing the sweating or for preventing the perspiration is because this is made out of plastic. It doesn't breathe very well, and it doesn't really come up as compatible with the frequency of your body. Dry fit materials come in at a 10 on frequency. And again, the human body is a 70 to 100. So if you're wearing a fabric that's a 10, it's definitely not going to be beneficial for your body. One thing that would concern me about a fabric that's made out of plastic and I'm sweating is that if I'm sweating to detox and get things out of my body, I don't want to wear something that's going to trap those things into my body so that I reabsorb them. So if you're wearing dry fit, please be careful. Make sure that you are allowing your body to properly breathe and perspire so that you can get rid of the toxins that come along with a good workout. Also, anytime there's a detected illness in the human body, it's gonna be at roughly, I don't want to say it's like 60, but maybe around 50 frequency. So at that point, you want to start to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, but you are also wearing things that will help your body to heal properly. So I noticed when I was researching this particular subject there a few things came up. One thing that stood out to me is where there's a Bible verse. I want to say it's I thought I had it noted. Forgive me, guys, but I want to say it's Deuteronomy 22. Yes, Deuteronomy 22:11. Do not wear clothes of wool and linen woven together. And I know that for a Bible verse, some people might be like, why would they suggest that in the Bible verse? Well, the reason is linen and wool, although they both carry a frequency of 5,000, one is a positive 5,000, one is a negative 5,000. And to wear them together, they will cancel each other out. So although you might want to wear wool to stay warm or to layer your clothing, you don't want to pair that with something that's made of linen, because the frequency of the clothing will actually cancel each other out. So I thought that was very interesting that they went so far as to mention that in the Bible. Additionally, other fabrics that you might be asking about, I thought I saw somebody I thought I saw somebody asking about something in the chat, but some other clothing fabrics that you might be wondering about. Silk has a frequency of 10. Rayon, a frequency of 15. Polyester, acrylic, spandex, a lot of those are leggings, lycra, nylon, all of those have a energy frequency of 0. So all of you putting on those leggings and you feel free, it's not healthy to your body energy to wear leggings. It's suffocating. It's not allowing proper breathing of your largest organ, which is your skin. So just keep these things in mind when you wear these things with frequency. That's polyester, acrylic, spandex, lycra, and nylon. Silk is at a 10, rayon is at a 15, and bleached cotton is at a 40. So the human body resonates at a 70 to 100. So make sure that when you are pairing fabrics, that you are looking to wear things that work with your body. I'm a cotton person. I like cotton. I like silk too. I'm not going to front, but it's not as breathing as we would like for it to be. Again, spiders trap their prey in silk. So just think about that. That really, connected a dot for me when I read that. And again, this is Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And I see where they was going with the silk. Dry fit. Don't forget about the dry fit. Make sure you guys are checking your clothes and checking how long that you are wearing these clothes, because they're not breathing properly, especially when you are perspiring. You want to make sure that you allow your body to get rid of those toxins that happen in the workout process appropriately. You don't want to reabsorb them because you're wearing literal plastic for clothes. Additionally, on the subject of, are your clothes making you sick? I saw in something called The Guardian, from an article back in July of 2023, said that skinny jeans can cause digestive issues and nerve pain. People are wearing their jeans entirely too tight, and it's causing digestive issues and nerve pain, to the point that it was mentioned in this article. Now, I'm going to go out here on a limb, because I have seen, I don't too much see a lot of ladies wearing skinny jeans that are not for them, in a way that looks like they're not for them. But I've definitely seen some gentlemen who have stuffed themselves into some skinny jeans that let me know, oh, those are skinny jeans. And fellas, it's causing digestive issues as well as nerve pain. Nerve pain is nothing to play with. If any of you have a diabetic in your family who may be experiencing nerve pain because of their condition, they will tell you that nerve pain is nothing to play with. And I'm telling you, if you are bringing on nerve pain prematurely because you are insisting on wearing skinny jeans, shame on you. It's about your health. I'm going to ask you to buy bigger jeans, because it's not worth it. I also came across some information about chemicals in fashion. Now, this particular article with the chemicals in fashion mentioned Alaska Airlines where in 2003 there was a complaint that the uniforms that the flight attendants were reported to have to wear, they began to complain that they were experiencing some symptoms of what seemed to be maybe allergic reactions to their uniforms. Now, I can imagine that as an employer, they're like, yeah, you're allergic to your uniform. You better get your tail in here to work. Let's crack this schedule. But this actually became such a problem that they really had to look into it and have it investigated. And what ultimately ended up happening is that the attendants who had to wear these uniforms reported things like blisters, swollen eyelids, hives, and allergic reactions. Well, because the complaints began to come in so frequently, this particular airline was able to kind of tiptoe around admitting that there was an issue with the uniforms, and they just agreed to go with a whole nother vendor to remake the uniforms and go with new uniforms. Well, ultimately, when that happened in 2018, the reports came back that the allergic reactions and symptoms had doubled. So when they had the clothes tested, some of the things they found in these clothes were tributyl phosphate, lead, arsenic, cobalt, among other things. But I wasn't able to find much past that, but I just thought it was very interesting that here I'm looking up the frequency of clothing, and I ended up in an article where the actual chemicals that are being put on the clothes are causing physical reactions quicker than what you may see with frequency changes in clothing. Showing up in these people who are wearing these uniforms, so much so that when they decided to switch to another vendor to hopefully alleviate the problem, the symptoms doubled. So when you think about the frequency of clothes, you're thinking, I want to wear cotton. Well, you can't wear bleach cotton because then that's going to take the frequency of the clothing down. But then whatever clothes you buy, you're going to have to make sure that they aren't treated with some chemicals that could ultimately make you even more sick. So much so that you could be breaking out in these hives, these blisters, or any number of other allergic reactions because your clothes are making you sick. So I implore you to look at what you're wearing. I know it might be the hottest thing in fashion, but if you have it on for 5 hours and it's basically suffocating you, it might not be worth it to sweat in that jacket. You understand what I'm saying? And again, this is Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And in my opinion, organic cotton or linen. And that's it. It's just too risky to do anything else. Now, before we move into the next layer of our nacho, I want to slide over to my chat. I see that a few people have come over to spend their Sunday with me, and I appreciate that. Wayne is in the chat. How you doing, Wayne? He said, Nacho, Wayne. Miss Vicious is in the chat. She is saying that beat is so fire. I will make sure that 2-1 Illuminous knows that he is definitely behind all of the production on the 2-1 or on the 2-1 Illuminous FiboNacci Brown collaboration called Scription Volume 1 and 2. So everything you hear on those volumes is going to be either me or him. Exclusively, the beats are him. I'm just the rapper and the singer sometimes, but I have to give it to him. He does have quite the hand when it comes to production. Oflo is in the building. He definitely came over here to let us know he is the energy. Yeah, you're the energy. Oflo said, what about the cotton? What battle? Where at? That is an inside joke. I am not a battle rapper, but I did have a verse where I had to set some things straight, and that is a hint back to that verse. 2-1 is pointing out dead clothes. That is absolutely correct. Dead clothes. And these clothes can actually cause problems. Even if they don't kill you, they can definitely cause problems that you don't want to deal with, from hives to blisters. So that's no fun. And Lyrically Inclined TV has come over to hang out with us on Nacho Sundays. We definitely appreciate that. For my battle rappers that are in the chat, you are going to appreciate this next step because I need to get that water. A lot of times doing Nacho Sundays, you know, get a little parched. Got to take care of that. But moving on to our next layer of our nacho. That is going to be the beefy nacho. And in the beefy nacho, this is where we talk about conflict wherever it may exist in the world. And this week on the beefy nacho, we are going to be talking about employers versus employees, on-site workers versus remote workers. Who wins? So right now, the pandemic is behind us, and we have come out of a state where it has been mandatory that many people work from home. Now that you can come back to the office, many employers are adamant that their employees do just that. While on the other hand, employees are pretty much enjoying the work-life balance that a hybrid schedule of working in sometimes in the office and sometimes at home allows them. And they are just kicking and screaming, not wanting to return to a 5-day-a-week schedule in the office. So from what I was able to gather from a Forbes article, the remote builder stated that 90% of companies plan to implement a return to office policy by the end of 2024. Even places like Meta or Facebook, as well as the company Zoom, are definitely wanting to make it mandatory for their employees to at some point be in the office. Now, I found that interesting because people like Meta and Facebook, along with other social platforms, have made it very easy to not have to be in a brick and mortar building to get work done, especially Zoom. I know during the pandemic, as well as even currently, people are still utilizing Zoom to have meetings where you don't have to fly in to have the meeting. You don't have to rent a hotel room, get a rental car, and show up physically somewhere. You can actually pull up to a Zoom meeting, get a face-to-face. Materials can be electronically distributed so that you don't have to have physical paper. And this allows everybody to communicate across platforms and other boundaries like states and time zones. So I don't understand how companies who make their bread and butter on making sure people can communicate remotely would even think that there's an argument to be had to require workers to come back to work on a mandatory basis in the office. But again, this is Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And I said it, Zoom, you got your nerve. You really, really got your nerve. Now, in addition to some of these gripes, the companies are arguing, meaning the employers are arguing, that human interaction and synergies foster innovation, collaboration, and corporate identity necessary for the success of the company. And as a result, remote work culture is getting diluted, or remote work culture is diluting corporate culture. Now, from the employer end, I can totally understand that. I can understand where you believe that the human interactions your employees are able to have when they can brainstorm together in one room and bounce ideas off of each other, have lunches together, brown bag it. You create these experiences where you get a certain product out of those engagements that ultimately makes your company successful. So you believe according to your metrics. Additionally, these companies are actually one survey company did a 2022 survey on Korn Ferry, and they revealed that a study of 15,000 global executives agreed that corporate culture is more than 30% of their market value. So not only are employers feeling that their corporate culture is at stake, they are feeling it is at stake because of how much corporate culture impacts their market value when it becomes to looking valuable outside of the company to other people. So they feel that they need those human interactions. They need people coming in and adding to the corporate identity in order to keep that market value strong. Employees, on the other hand, are saying that according to Bankrate survey, they revealed that 68% of employees prefer a hybrid schedule with at least one day working from home, and the unmatched work-life balance is even pushing some people to actually walk away from the traditional 9 to 5 days a week, because they don't have a hybrid schedule. Additionally, the stress of the commute is also something that employees have highlighted. as well as easier morning with the family, where everybody is not rushing around to get out of the house at a certain time, where you can be home to be with your family, see your kids off to school or off to the bus stop, even drive them maybe, make a breakfast for your family as opposed to putting in the microwave or doing, cold cereal or something like that. People are actually seeing a value in that they don't want to give up to go back into the office. Additionally, people are not looking forward to spending the gas money or the stress of commuting to go back and forth to the office. They don't want the stress of traffic. They don't want the stress of being on a bus or a carpool. They just don't want to deal with it when they could be at home and get the same job done. Also, people like the fact that they are able to complete household chores while parallel working from home for the corporate office. So while you're waiting for that report to run, you can vacuum your floors or you can do the dishes. And this ultimately, what the survey revealed, allowed people to have more enjoyable weekends because they are not spending their weekends playing catch up from what they weren't able to do throughout the week in their own lives. So when you look at both sides, again, this is Nacho Sundays, where you're here for opinion. And I'm going to give it to you. Not your opinion. I think that some of these companies who are eager to see people return to the office and eager to see everything go back to, for lack of better terms, the way it was, I think that they are not taking into account the total impact of technology and social platforms. One thing that was mentioned in this research about this remote work versus on-site is that some employers have expressed they are concerned about mass exodus, a mass exodus of talent where their talent has been lured away from their brick and mortar building for a more lucrative position that allows them to work from home at least one or more days a week. Additionally, they are struggling to find ways to make working in the office more attractive, considering the mass implementation of remote work with the pandemic. I think that some of these companies are not taking into consideration the impact of technology. I also think that to some degree, these companies they might be misled by the synergies they see in human engagements in the office. And when I say misled, I think that sometimes you just have a group of good people who tend to have a good chemistry, and you ultimately believe that anytime you get a group of people together, you can recreate the magic and capture that lightning in a bottle. And I don't think that's all true. I think we are in a different time where we have a different brick and mortar worker than we did maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s, where catching lightning in a bottle with these types of groups was more popular. The worker that's in these positions, in these brick and mortar buildings, is a different type of worker. They have different types of challenges, and they have different types of opportunities outside of having to come into a physical building. And I think that some of the employers that are wanting workers to come back into the building, and it's like, okay, now I got you all in your seats, do the magic. And thinking they have the worker from the early 90s or the 90s and late or early 2000s, they think they have that same worker, and they don't. You have a worker who is a lot more social savvy when it comes to technology and electronics. And before they are pushed in that way, they're going to find an opportunity which is going to look to them like the path of least resistance. So I think to some degree, they may be overestimating what the human engagement in the office can actually produce by way of success. And I also think that, listen, I know some of y'all ain't gonna like what I just said. Again, this is Nacho Sundays, where this is Nacho's opinion, not your opinion. So you're gonna have to, if you hear from my opinion, I'm gonna give it to you. Additionally, I also think that some of these companies who are trying to get people to come back into the office, thinking that they are missing out on something, or something is lacking by them not being there. I think they are totally dismissing the credibility of virtual synergies. You can definitely create a synergy and a chemistry with a group of people in an online environment. You can definitely put several people in a virtual environment and get results. I don't think that it's fair to say that companies like Zoom, who want their workers to come back into the office, can at the same time discount the effectiveness of being able to work remotely in a team environment. So, if that's the thought process, make it make sense, because I don't see how a company who makes their bread and butter on being able to facilitate effective team meetings can suggest that people need to come back into the office and use the statistics from a survey company who suggested that 2/3 of a 15,000 executive group survey believe that they need to have people coming back into the office in order to be successful, because it's so much of their market value. I think if their market value is that reliant on physical bodies, that in some areas they may need to look at where they can slim down, but in other areas they also may need to look at how they can maximize their virtual presence. They may be missing out on some opportunities. And again, this is Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And yeah, you might be leaving some money on the table by not taking into account what you can capture in the virtual environment, because you're using the physical or the on-site environment as a crutch. So get it together, corporate companies. It's not going to go back to the way it was. In some instances, we have to go kicking and screaming into certain circumstances, but I think there's a way to have a happy medium where we're not giving away all of our access in exchange for a convenience, but we are using it as a tool in order to stay effective with the human touch. And with that said, I'm going to slide over to my chat before I get into the last layer of our nacho. I see that Oflo is laughing at me, laughing at him in my chat. Jules, thank you for subscribing. Jules Gaming Lounge, we appreciate you for joining the Nachotarian family on this here Nacho Sundays. And we are going to get into the last layer of our nacho on Nacho Sundays. And that last layer is going to be the Nacho Supreme. And in the Nacho Supreme, it's the knowledge nugget. It's things that we wish we knew sooner, things that can help us get through this thing called life, things we wish somebody would have told us when we were younger, all of the things that help make this thing called life a little more easier to bear. And this week, the Nacho Supreme nugget is understanding that having an angle does not mean you have a point. I'm going to say it again. Having an angle does not mean you have a point. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because, first of all, let me identify what I'm saying a point is. A point comes to a purposeful conclusion with leading supporting statements that make sense to the purpose of having the point. An angle, on the other hand, is a potentially unrelated caveat to a buzzword or phrase in an existing or current discussion. For example, if I am having a conversation with someone, they're like, hey, have you looked at the sky today? And I'm like, yeah, I looked at the sky. It's a really beautiful blue. And then somebody out of nowhere comes in and say, did you say blue? Blue is another word for green. So really, when you saying blue, it really means green. And if you understood green, and they go all down a street where you weren't even going. They had an angle. They didn't have a point. So sometimes you have people who they want the conversation to shift towards them. So they work to be a distraction in a conversation so that they can garner the attention of the people in the conversation. Not saying that they have something of value to add to the discussion, not staying on task with what the discussion is even about, but just wanting the attention from the people who are having the discussion. They throw an angle out there so that they can garner garner the benefits of the attention. They don't have a point. They're not talking about what you're talking about. They just heard a buzzword and was like, oh, let me take that and go down this street and try to go in a totally different direction because they feel that will have them leading the discussion. Sometimes people don't want to see you get attention on an intellectual level, so they'll try to tarnish you with angles. So rather than just wanting the attention from the people in the conversation, sometimes people just don't like the attention that you get for having certain information. Maybe you're really good at knowing how to do color in between the lines in a coloring book. And you've got two people listening to you talk about your technique. You know, first I go outside the line and then I go inside the line. And when I color in one direction. And they don't like that. They don't like that you got a technique and it works for you and it comes out with something fabulous. So they try to throw an angle out there in order to turn the conversation and attention off of you onto them. So while you're demonstrating how you color so perfectly in the lines, they might be like, you use crayons. You know, crayons are toxic. They say if you use too many crayons, you might turn the color of the crayon, you know, has nothing to do with you talking about coloring inside the lines, but just because they can take the attention off of you and throw an angle out there to tarnish what you're doing, they in turn garner the attention of the moment. So you got to be able to distinguish between the two, that just because you have an angle doesn't mean you have a point. Make sure that if you are going to participate in a discussion, that you participate with something to add to the discussion. If you're not asking questions, trying to understand what the discussion is about, you know, be able to contribute to this discussion in a valuable way that doesn't turn it from the topic. And if it does turn it from the topic, be intellectual enough to say, this might be outside of what we're discussing, but this is something that came into my mind, or this is something that I was triggered to think during that discussion. But to just throw it out there to try to turn the discussion for sake of attention, that's you know, and I hate this term, but that's clout chasing. That's what it is. You just want attention, period. You don't care what you're ruining in order to get the attention. You don't care that, you know, the whole discussion got derailed. You're just glad you got the attention of the moment. Be able to spot those people. Know how to get your discussion back on task from people who want to be conversational vultures because they want attention. No, learn how to be able to let them know, you know, I understand you have an angle there, but the point of this discussion, and get back on track. And with that said, I am going to get ready to take my nacho plate to the kitchen and wash dishes. I enjoyed devouring the nacho with you guys. I see the mailman has joined the chat. Thank you for coming over and spending your Sunday with us here on Nacho Sundays, season 2, episode 6. And with that said, we are out.
Get ready for it.
Real quick, guys, before I get out of here, I almost forgot. Nacho Sundays is looking to add an addition to the show called Nacho Stand Music. And because I myself am an artist and I do music, I also want to be able to showcase other artists. I know last week we brought up Wayne, one of the EBL jewels, who is always putting out music. And I want to offer that opportunity up to some of you. So if you think that would be a good addition to the show, make sure you get in touch with me and let me know. Drop it in the comments or contact me on any of the platforms, whether that's on Twitter or Instagram, to tell me how you feel about Nacho Stand Music. I'll be looking forward to your comments, and I will see you next Sunday. Have a great one.